Hello and welcome to your in-depth horoscope forecast for September. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. That means every time I release a video, you'll get an alert. Now also, if you'd like to ascend above Zodiac sign astrology and embrace natal astrology based on your time, date and place of birth, please check out my special offer of a 12-month forecast and a character analysis and get 30% off. Please see the link beneath this video for more information. Hello Gemini and welcome to your monthly horoscope for September. The month begins with the Sun in the part of your horoscope, very much to do with your environment, where you live, how you live there, and whom with. So if you're making some changes around that area, it really wouldn't be a surprise. And some of the changes could be triggered by the fact that you have actually been feeling quite restless for some while. And part of that comes from the role of Uranus. So since March the 7th, 2019, Uranus has been in a sustained period of occupation in your 12th house, very much to do with the psychology of situations. But Uranus is the planet of truth, and in the sign of Taurus, Taurus is resistant to change, but Uranus tends to push change. So the things that you may have counted upon as being fairly constant in your world in the past may have been up in the air. There may have been a sense of flux. And now the Sun is in the sign of Virgo, you're being asked to try to find that greater sense of anchoring in your situation. But Uranus actually starts to help you, whereas previously it has, I think, been an irritant at the very least. Now, one of the ways it can help you is that in the first 10 days of this month, it's forging a beautiful trine to the Sun. So when the Sun and Uranus collaborate together, it means that changes can just seem to happen in a more natural way. Even if some of them are spontaneous, they can just seem to make sense. So you can still listen to your sixth sense, but things can just flow. Whereas perhaps earlier in this year, there's been that sense of great stress that's been caused by Uranus's square to Saturn. Now, the other wonderful thing that's going on at the start of this month is that Mars, also in your fourth house, is giving you the industry and the drive to make physical changes to where you live. Now, whether it's something like fitting a new kitchen or bathroom or redecoration or doing something with an outdoor space, or it is actually moving all together, the fact that Mars collaborates with the planet of change across the first 10 days suggests your desire to make a change come to pass is going to be very strong indeed. And you can turn these two influences very much to your advantage. But of course Mercury and Venus, Mercury your ruler and Venus in the sign of Libra, that's very much more about play and sociability. But if your home zone is settled, it's much more likely therefore that you're going to want to play host, invite people around. If there's someone you're really drawn to, you might want to cook them some food or go for a walk in nature and just share some ideas or some laughs. All of that is possible. But Venus forges a very positive link with Saturn at the start of this month, and Saturn's in the part of your scope to do with change and education, and using your creativity. The way you relate to people can be very important. So perhaps you can teach people from home, you can work from home, or perhaps you can give some lessons or lecture online. But if you do give lessons in your community, it could work in a flexible way to fit in with these changes going on in your world. But there is, of course, a new moon which occurs on the 7th, and that new moon could see over the following month a significant change in that home environment. And remember, because of its embrace of Uranus, it can all happen quite quickly. Uranus is a very flashing, electric energy, or it could be a change you've really been yearning for some time, and it really can please you as it unfolds. However, from the 3rd to the 9th, Venus does forge a rather challenging angle to Pluto. So in a romantic context, if there is a little bit of a politics going on, or someone doesn't quite seem to have the sensitivity you need with the Sun and Mars being in your 4th house, then just listen to how that plays out. Actually, on the 10th, Venus relocates into the sign of Scorpio, which is much more practical for you. And this is where we can do things of a physical nature to please people. Think of cooking them a meal, or sending them a gift, or running a favour for them. There are different ways to show affection, and Venus in the 6th house can be great for that. But week 3 sees the Sun connecting brilliantly to Pluto. So if you're going through any property transaction, the actual business side of it, that can be a key time of progress. But on the 18th, Mars moves out of Virgo and into a great location for you, the 5th house. Technically, Mars in Libra is not at its best, but for you, this can see you feeling much more outgoing, but also much more alluring. Mars in the 5th house really can give you some extra confidence about your appearance. You may want to also push out and invite someone out on a date if you're single. It's a lovely location for Mars to be for the following 6 weeks from the middle of this month. But on the 19th, Mercury in the same location goes into shadow, and on the 27th will go into retrograde. So it just suggests that there could be some ebbs and flows around your romantic or social situation in the last half of this month, but it won't be dull, and I think that's going to be really exciting for you. There is a full moon on the 20th, and this occurs in your sector of success and work. For you to really feel comfortable in your professional aspirations, it has to feel right, because the Sun is anchored in the 4th house, whereas the Moon, which is obviously about emotion and the home, is in the 10th house of where you link with the world at large. So over the following couple of weeks, if you are in a job which doesn't make you feel very comfortable, or it's not very nurturing, or there's not much support or encouragement there, you could think again about that position. But the 22nd is fantastic, because we have the autumn equinox. The Sun glides into your sister air sign of Libra, and we have the 3rd quadrant of the year begins. This is a really significant moment for you, because I do feel that it will give you the push to be more playful, more adventurous, and really seeking out the things that bring pleasure into your situation, whichever they may be, whether it's mixing and mingling, if that's possible with COVID regulations, or whether it's spending time with your kids, if they've got pursuits that you're involved with. It really can be an uplifting time. But in week 3, Venus, in that very practical location, does go into an opposition with Uranus. If there's a niggle in a relationship which has been bubbling around in the background, it could come out then, and quite surprisingly so. The 27th sees Mercury go into that retrograde, and just letting you know, because it is your ruler, that Mercury is broadly challenged by Pluto for the last couple of weeks of this month. So Mercury is about how we think, it's how we articulate our ideas, it's how we listen. It is also an influencer of travel and distribution. And because Pluto is in a very political part of your situation, and very much to do with power, and it is in a retrograde itself, I just feel that if there is a situation where you feel that you're manifesting a talent, but you're not getting much reward for it creatively, or you're not getting the approval that you're really deserving of, whether it's in material sense, in terms of the money, or in terms of just people being appreciative of you, that's something that could really become a bit of an issue towards the end of this month. But generally speaking, I think you're flowering out of a period where you're looking to make sure that base camp is secure, and that the front door locks and it's warm, it's dry, it's cozy, you feel the light's good, it's peaceful enough for you to thrive. And then the last 10 days of the month is all about you being much more outgoing, much more progressive, and interacting in the world at large in a more dynamic way. But there could be some stops and starts around your love life, and also around creative strands, simply because of Mercury being in shadow and then in retrograde, but also being challenged by Pluto.